Children, here now I am operating Nischals 3D application on our interactive flat panel. So here you are observing the presence of, so there you see phloem tissue. So already I told you phloem tissue is useful for transportation of water. Yes. So it is a clear picture, and there you see the presence of sieve tube, and also you see how the food is transported from top parts of the plant body. Children, you need to observe, you need to see, you need to watch. Why? Because so food always transported from leaves to other parts of the plant body. So that is the reason you are observing downward movement of food. But whereas in case of xylem, and there you see upward movement of water and so mineral salts to various parts of the body. Here it is an exact, it is a wonderful what 3D diagram. There you see how the food is transported through sieve tubes, and there you see the presence of a sieve plate, and also you see the presence of pits, and you are observing just by the side of the sieve tube the presence of companion cells. Again you see the presence of phloem fibers, phloem parenchyma, and also phloem other tissues. So here phloem tissue consists of four types of cells. So they are sieve tubes and sieve cells, and phloem parenchyma and phloem sclerenchyma. So it is a thin thick wall, and these are the tissues which are present in the phloem, and phloem tissue is also called as bast. So in examination, you may ask a question like that. So what is the other name for phloem tissue? And that time you need to write bast, B-A-S-T, bast. And now I am operating another one, that is xylem tissues. So I told you xylem vessels are useful for transportation of water and mineral salts, and these also having xylem tracheids and xylem vessels, and these xylem vessels and tracheids are made up of lignin, and they are thick and they are dead tissue except xylem parenchyma, and there on the interactive flat panel, children, you are observing that is tube like, that is structure, channel like structure, a passage there you see, and these channels are useful for conduction of water. So I applied, I used Nischals 3D application. Through this 3D application, I focused both phloem tissue on the interactive flat panel and also xylem tissue on the interactive flat panel. You need to learn that these tissues they form as bundles, and it is a complex tissue, permanent tissue, and these tissues are meant for conduction of food and water. Here you are observing the functions of the phloem and also xylem, and now we need to understand about what is a protective tissue. So here the term itself is indicating that protection. So there you see soldiers, they are protecting the nation, and policemen, they are protecting the community. So in the same way, plant body is also protected by means of the presence of epidermis. So epidermis is the outermost layer of the plant body, that is organs, and this epidermis is useful to protect the, that is plant organ from injuries, and also they give also from infections. So that is the use of the epidermal tissue, and these epidermal tissues which are present in leaves, they are having tiny pores, and the tiny pores are called as stomata, are useful for what photosynthesis, and here air enter into the that is the leaves, and there the air is having carbon dioxide, and through stomata they enter and finally leaves are performing a process that we call as photosynthesis. And finally, leaves are preparing food. And leaves are so useful for transpiration of water. And here stomata are also useful for transpiration of water and also for photosynthesis. Gases exchange takes place through tiny pores. They are called as stomata and they are having stoma. And these epidermal cells are elongated and they are flat. Interstellar spaces are completely absent and it is having it is a living cells. It is having all the components which we are observing in case of parenchyma, and there we see all these epidermal tissues are present all parts of the plant body. And now I have read the passage. So it is the outermost protecting layer of the plant organs. So you need to know what are the plant organs. So we have different organs in our body: brain, heart, lungs, kidneys. In the same way, plant is also having different parts, different organs. They are roots, stem, branches, leaves, flowers, fruits. These are called as the plant organs, and these plant organs are covered with epidermal layer, epidermis. Again, epidermis is usually made up of single layer of cells. I told you it is a single layer. It is having elongated cells, and these cells are flat. Here you see on the board. So it is an excellent diagram, and there it is a beautiful diagram. And there here you are observing the presence of TS of leaf, transverse section of leaf. And on the upper surface and lower surface we can see the presence of another waxy coat. That waxy coat is also protecting the plant organ from, that is, injuries and also from infections, and also prevents loss of water. The plants which are growing in dry condition in deserts, so it is a waxy coat, and that waxy coat protecting layer that is present above the epidermis is called as cuticle. And below the cuticle you can see presence of epidermis, and they are compactly arranged, no interstellar spaces. And below the epidermis we can see the presence of mesophyll tissue, and there you see this is a mesophyll tissue. Here you are observing the heading, and the mesophyll tissue consists of palisade parenchyma. They are arranged in two rows, and they are elongated cells, and they are compactly arranged, and there are no intercellular spaces. So in case of palisade parenchyma, below you see presence of spongy parenchyma, and this parenchyma tissue consists of chloroplast, helpful in the preparation of food by a process that is called photosynthesis, and these are having intercellular spaces. And again you see below the leaf and also above the leaf you can see the presence of tiny pores, minute pores. Many pores are present, and these pores are having guard cells, stoma, for to get entry of air and also excess of air. During photosynthesis they take air and carbon dioxide, and during respiration they breathe out, that is carbon dioxide, through the stoma. So in this way gases exchange takes place during the process of photosynthesis and during the process of respiration. Again you are observing the presence of the epidermal cells on either side, and mesophyll tissue, palisade parenchyma, spongy parenchyma, guard cell, stomata. All these are the parts of TS of leaf. But here we are discussing the nature, the structure, the formation of epidermis. So it is a epidermal layer, and here there are no intercellular spaces. Here we are observing this is one. Here you see there are gaps are there and spaces are there. Intercellular spaces there, but here there is no intercellular. They are compactly arranged. They are compactly arranged. No intercellular spaces, and they are elongated. They are flat, and they are living cells, but not non-living. And that is a brief description about epidermis. And now we need to understand about the functions of epidermis. I told you already. So epidermal layers are protecting the plant parts, plant organs from injuries, from infections, and that is the main function of epidermis. And gaseous exchange takes place through leaves, and there you see the function of the epidermis is protection of plant from injuries and also infections, and cuticle is present on upper surface and lower surface, and it also prevent the loss of water. The plants which are growing in desert areas, and that there you see it prevent desiccation. So here loss of water is prevented by means of the cuticle, and stomata also present on upper surface and lower surface of leaf, and these stomata are useful for gases exchange. And during photosynthesis, there you see release of oxygen takes place as a waste gas, and during respiration, and you see entry of oxygen, entry of air to the plant body, and they take oxygen. Again, you see release of carbon dioxide through the stomata. So in this way, gases exchange takes place through stomata, and these stomata also useful for transpiration. So loss of water takes place through these gaps and these pores. And now you need to understand, it also facilitates transpiration. The loss of water through plant body is called as transpiration. So that is a process. What is transpiration? And transpiration is nothing but loss of water. So here plant is losing water through tiny pores, and that process is called as transpiration. And now we need to understand about another layer, and that is called as phellum. It is also called as cork. So here when you touch a big plant, when you touch a root system of a big plant, and there you see it is hard and it is covered with non-living tissue, and that tissue is called as cork, and cork is present on older trunks of plant body, and it is a dead tissue, and it is made up of suberin. It also acts as insulator. It also prevent the plant from shocks, and also it also prevents the loss of water, and there is all these are the functions of bark. And what is the other name for bark? There you see phellum. Phellum, Phellem. And now cork cells are dead cells and having intercellular spaces, no intercellular spaces. Here, no intercellular spaces are absent, and they appear on the periphery, the topmost part of the stem, root, and especially in case of growing older plants. So the plants which grow older and they have the stems are having bark, they increase the girth. So here they also have chemical that is a compound that is suberin. So here cork is having a chemical, and that chemical is called as suberin, and it makes the cork that is shock absorbing. So it also prevent, it also protect the plant from what injuries and also from infections. So here it also impervious to gases and also water. And here on the interactive flat panel, children, you are observing a big diagram showing 2.12 cork cells. These are the cork cells, and they look like the bricks. And here you see functions. So cork is providing protection, and it also protect the plant from external injuries and also from infection. I told you it also prevent desiccation, and also since cork is does not have, it does not catch fire easily, and it is also used as insulator and also shock absorber and also linoleum. And there you see it is also useful in making sports goods. Children, you are playing shuttle, and you are playing tennis, and you are playing cricket. So here the article, these sport articles you are using are nothing but these are prepared from bark of the plant. So we are using cork ball, so that is prepared from bark, and it is lightweight. And so we are also using what there you see shuttlecocks. So shuttlecock, the bottom of the shuttlecock you see friends of cork, and this cork is produced from the, prepared from the bark, that is from the plants, and table tennis paddles. So these are all what sports what materials, and these sport materials are prepared from the bark of a plant. So here in this video, children, we discuss clearly. So what is a vascular bundle, and what are the tissues which are present in the vascular bundles, and these vascular tissues are called as complex permanent tissues, and these vascular tissues are divided into two categories based on their functions, and one type of tissue are called like xylem tissues, and these xylem tissue consists of four types of cells, and except xylem parenchyma, all other cells which are present in the xylem are dead tissue and they are lignified. Xylem fibers and xylem, that is the trachea, are just like tubes. They are tube like structure, and these tube like structure they give mechanical strength to the plant, and they form wood, and their dead tissue they also conduct water. The transportation of water takes place through xylem. And also we discussed there are four types of cells which are present in phloem. So they are sieve tubes, sieve cells, and companion cells, and also phloem, sclerenchyma. So phloem fibers. So these are the cells which are present in the phloem, and the other name for the phloem is bast. And also we discuss what are the functions of bast and what are the functions of phloem. And we discuss epidermal tissues and also cork. Epidermal tissues and cork, both of them they protect the plant from external injuries, also from infections. And epidermis is having elongated cells, they're flat, and they're having all the components which we are seeing in a cell, and they're present on upper surface and lower surface of the plant organs. And we also learn the importance of bark, and the bark is generally present on the upper side of the old leaves, older parts of the plant body, like that is trunk, which grow in enlarged, that is increased in girth, and that bark is dead tissue, and it is made up of a chemical that is called as suberin. And also we discuss what are the functions of the bark, and the other name for bark is pelum. So children, all this information we learned in this video from the chapter 2, that is structure of plant tissues. Thank you.